Hey, what's up you guys, people of the internet, everyone who clicked on this very video. My name is Anna, and today I want to be reviewing the 2016 Jungle Book movie. I saw the movie yesterday, and I really loved it. And because my sister and I kind of had a Jungle Book day, we went to see the movie. And I was obsessed with the Jungle Book as a child. Like, I loved it. It was my favorite Disney movie growing up. And we went to see the new movie, and then it was like, you know, it's been like 10 years or something since I saw that movie, and we saw that one and then saw the second one. So we saw 3 Jungle Book movies back to back. I really liked the new movie. I had some small things on it that I didn't like, which I will also be discussing. But as a whole, it was so beautiful. Animation, and it looks so real. Like, I'll go into that further. But it looked so real, and the casting was great. I loved, like, the little kid who played Mowgli. I did not look up the actor's name, but he was great. He was great as Mowgli. So they obviously did change some things in the plot, which is, I mean, that's normal, I guess. But some things I liked. I liked how the pack of wolves was more important. The animation was so beautiful. Still, I'm gonna do non-spoilery things first. It was rated, I don't know what the rating was in America, was it PG-13? In the Netherlands, where I saw it, because that's where I live, it was 12 and up. And I could definitely see that. I mean, the fighting scenes, there were a lot of fighting, which there wasn't obviously in the Disney movie, because the Disney movie is for all ages, so it doesn't have fighting in it. Well, it has some fighting in it, but not as great and gruesome as this. I liked that. I like that they did it so it could be for adults who, as children, watched the Jungle Book, or teenagers like myself, who watched the Jungle Book. When they were kids, could now still enjoy this if it was a bit more violent. And I didn't mind that. I mean, it would have been fun for kids to also be able to see this version without the violence, but you still have the original films, like, they were good. I watched those yesterday as well, and I still had a lot of fun with them. I'll just say it's so beautiful, very beautiful. The set, everything. There's this scene where there's the fire, and you can see the fire reflect in the animal's eyes, and oh my god, so beautiful. That. So this will be the non-spoilery section. So you can click away if you haven't seen it. You should. It's really great. I liked it a lot. So we'll get into it now. Okay, so I have a list. I have a list of positive things and negative things. I'll start with positive. I already said animation, so beautiful. Set, so beautiful. Mowgli's acting, really good. What I really liked was how the pack of wolves was more important. In the original films you don't really see it much, it's just like that's where he's dropped. I really liked how his mom, I don't remember her name, Raksha I think, was more important. And there's this scene where they're saying goodbye because Mowgli's like, okay, I'm leaving, I don't want anyone to die for me. I'm leaving. The goodbye between Raksha, if that was her name, and Mowgli was so heartbreaking. No, yeah, that was so beautiful. I really liked that. And character Grey as the tiny wolf, I really loved that. I love the jungle. I really like that. Like, I can't recite it, but it's like the strength of the pack is the wolf and the strength of the wolf is the pack, or the other way around was the last 2 sentences. And I like that. I also really liked about the pack the beginning and the ending scene, like the parallels, where it's like in the beginning Mowgli is running from Bagheera, like he's training with the wolves. And he's not fast enough, obviously, because he's a human, and on short distances wolves are a bit faster than humans. So he's going through the trees and he jumps wrong and a branch breaks and he falls and he's not fast enough. And they're telling him, be like a wolf. Like, you're not a wolf, but be like one, be a wolf. And in the last scene, again he's going through the trees, but it works out with the things he's learned. And he's fast enough, he's faster than the wolves, because he's smarter. Then it's accepted that he's different. He's still different, obviously, he's not a wolf, but it's okay he's not a wolf. Like I really like that. Again, I was talking about The Law of the Jungle. the peace treaty they have. I really like that. I like seeing all the animals together like that, like of all kinds. And so Shere Khan being introduced to openly threat Mowgli, instead of in the original films where it's just like, oh, Shere Khan's in the house, so we need to leave. I really liked him having quite a big part of like having actual interaction with the wolves, also with Akela, and how he's like holding the wolves for ransom, kind of, because he's like, well, he killed Akela. That was heartbreaking. But it was good to see. I like to see he's like, oh, I killed Akela, now he needs to come back. And that was very smart. I think Shere Khan's a very smart character in the third, very cunning character in the first films. And I liked how that came back. He became smarter in this film, but that's because the audience can grasp onto more concepts. Because if he would have been like that, like he was now in the original films, the kids who watched it wouldn't have gotten it, probably. So I like that. Also about Shere Khan, I really liked his message when Mowgli comes back in the end with the fire, and he's like, well, now I'll beat Shere Khan. And Shere Khan is like, well, now they're scared of you, you don't belong here, you now know you don't belong here. And in that way kind of getting what he wants, as in tormenting Mowgli, kind of ruining his life. I thought that message, like, you're human and animals are afraid of humans because they're bad and you didn't want to become one of them, but it was inevitable and now you are one. I really like that. I was like, oh my god, that's so clever. I love it. It hurt my soul that it was the way it was, but I loved it. I like Bagheera a lot. I realized Bagheera's a lot like me. It's funny because when I watched the originals when I was like 7 or something, I don't know when the first time was. I think the first one was like 5, maybe. I don't know. But I really identified with Mowgli because I also wanted to be a child like that, and it was adorable. But now I identify a lot more with Bagheera, who kind of, I don't know why entirely, but just his like, oh, these kids again. I feel so old now. No, but like, in that way I identify with Bagheera now when I didn't back then, and I think that's interesting, the change of identification throughout the ages. What I really loved is the backstory. We don't get any backstory in the original. It's just like, oh, there's just a child there, because they don't know that. Kind of like the narrator is Bagheera, so Bagheera doesn't know how Mowgli ended up there, so we don't know, and Mowgli doesn't know, so we don't know. And in this film, you get this scene where Shere Khan's telling the story that in the cave where Mowgli's dad was in the jungle with Mowgli, and he had fire and Shere Khan was coming to kill him, which he did, but then the father maimed Shere Khan, he burned like half his face, and that's a reason why Shere Khan hates humans so much, which I think was amazing. I had some little things that bothered me about the film, because nothing is perfect. Also, something I noticed, Baloo in this film is kind of an asshole. He was kind of an asshole in the original films, but it shined through more, because it's very obvious in this film that Baloo is kind of using Mowgli to get food or get things that he can't do because he's a bear. So it's kind of very obvious, but then I got thinking, like, did I see that now, and would I have seen that in the original films, but didn't I then because I was a child and I too trusted Baloo with this funny little song and wanted to live in a jungle with him? But I rewatched the original films, and though Baloo is a bit of an asshole, he's selfish, he's not as bad. It was made a bit bigger in the new film, which, I mean, I guess it's not that bad, but I love Baloo a lot. And the thing is, he is kind of selfish in the originals, because when Mowgli wants to go to the man village, Baloo is like, no, stay with us, my little son. So he is selfish in that way, but I don't think he was as manipulative then as he was in this film a bit. It's like, oh hi, I did this thing for you, I don't even remember what. Now you owe me and you need to get this for me. and like that kind of manipulative. And I didn't like that because I love Baloo. But I do understand why it's not a really bad thing, but I wouldn't have liked that to be extradited. Are there bears in India? I don't know. Something I didn't like, because this was like Baloo was something I didn't really like, but I could understand why it's done. Something I didn't like was King Louie. In the new film, I don't know why they made him so ginormous. That wasn't necessary to me, because in the original films he's kind of like Mowgli size, and he's like dancing and very energetic, while in this film he barely moves. He's just sitting there all the time. And I understand that such a big animal can't move, but why is he made that big? It doesn't make sense to me. He's an orangutan. Orangutans don't get that big. They given a different species name in the new movie that I don't remember. But I don't know why they did that, because they kind of changed his character. I think they gave some of his character traits. They made Baloo a bit like him, because he is the manipulative thing. He's like, oh, you want to stay in the jungle? You can stay with me. Just give me fire so I can be a human, because I want to be a human. And I guess they did that right, but they didn't make him as convincing. In the movie originals he was kind of convincing, because it's like, you know, it's fun here. I have parties and shit, and here it was just like, give me what I want, you little shit. And also his song, like, that's another thing. I would have liked more songs. There's more songs. I want the elephant song, I want the cat song. But obviously we get bare necessities, which is important. And you kind of get King Louie's song, but it's very slowed down as opposed to the original, which I didn't really like, because in the original it's like the swingy, jazzy thing, and in the new one it's a bit slower and a bit creepier. And I mean, I get we don't get the Baloo dressing up as an ape, dancing with King Louie and a Bagheera trying to rescue. I get we don't get that. That would have been funny, but I'm alright with that. It's just King Louie's image was kind of changed, and I didn't like that. Also about King Louie, I was thinking, like, why would they have made him that big? I'm guessing at this point is because they have a scene where the temple's destroyed, and maybe they thought like a smaller orangutan couldn't destroy a temple. Possibly, that's the only explanation I came up with. Talking about the temple, there's a scene that's a lot like the ending scene in The Jungle Book 2, where Shere Khan is walking around the temple and Mowgli and Shanti and Baloo are there. And they're like hiding behind these poles, and Shere Khan's like circling the thing, and he's like, I'll get you, and he has his entire speech. That's kind of replaced by King Louie in this film, where Mowgli's hiding from him behind the temple, and he's just like walking around like, I'll find you, man cub. And that was kind of a replacement, which I guess is for the temple to crumble still, because he was fighting, because they couldn't do it the way they did in the original. I suppose that's why, but I would have liked that to be Shere Khan's bit still, because that feels more into character for Shere Khan to do than King Louie, especially like original King Louie. Like this King Louie I could see do that, but it just I didn't like it. The only other thing that I didn't love was the ending. I didn't really like the ending. Well, I liked the ending, but the ending was different. Because the ending to this, with Mowgli running up a tree and using it, and Shere Khan following him while there was a forest fire around them, and then Mowgli using a trick to not fall while Shere Khan fell into the fire and died, that kind of felt similar to me to the ending of Jungle Book 2 as well, where they indeed are at a temple and the temple's crumbling, and Mowgli and Shanti jump and Shere Khan too, and Shere Khan doesn't make it and he falls in a pit of lava on the little island, and they have the brick thing, and that's the what's it, a vulture that's telling him bad jokes and is an omen for death probably, which I just realized yesterday when I rewatched it. And kind of feels the same it's kind of the same thing. It's obviously it's not entirely the same thing, but he's falling to a fiery death, so it's the same thing. I liked the way that was executed. It was very beautiful, it was very in character, it worked really well. But we didn't see that, which was another thing. I don't know if that's an entire thing that kind of works with this. We don't really see the man village that much. In the original Jungle Book, the ending is like something beats Shere Khan. Like, I understand that they don't do it that way, because then it's like, well, obviously he's gonna come back. He's been punched in the snout once, like, that's not gonna make him stop looking for Mowgli, especially as it made it so clear he won't stop until the man cub is dead. I understand why they did it, but the ending to the first Jungle Book is where Mowgli is like looking over the water and he sees Shanti there singing, and he follows her into the man village, and Baloo and Bagheera are like, oh, her baby's growing up. So it's like that, and that's beginning of Jungle Book 2 and then the man village. I think the ending of this means that they're not gonna make a second one, because Shere Khan's already dead, that's the threat. They didn't even mention the man village, he's back at the wolves at the end. Well, I like that ending. I would have also very much liked Jungle Book 2 to be made, because I'm just thinking of the things that happened there, and with Shanti and Ranjan and the other people, I really liked the message that gave the original film. I would have liked that to also become a new film, but I guess I understand why they didn't let it end that way. But I would have liked the Jungle Book 2 real adaptation. Maybe it will come, but I don't think so, because where's the villain? They could make it. They won't, but I'm just thinking about it now, like, I really want them to do that. So how could they do that? I don't know. That's the reason I didn't like that Shere Khan died, only because that means there's not going to be a second one. Which is too bad, because I would like to see Shanti and her little brother Ranjan, was that his name? I don't remember. But yeah, in the end, like, I have some negative traits, but I mainly really loved it. I really liked the adaptation, because obviously it's film to film, it's like a reboot, it's not an adaptation. But I haven't really seen reboots a lot, so I'm just thinking of the mind of someone who's seen a lot of books come to film adaptation. And obviously this film is based on the Jungle Book, the book, that I didn't read but exists. But thinking in a book to movie mind, I think always the most important when you're going to book to movie is that you capture the essence, the heart of the movie. Someone explained, I think that was Raoul, who explained, like, if you want to turn a book into a movie, your book is the cat. You have this cat, and your exercise is to make it into a dog. To make the dog, you have to kill the cat and make it in and bash it and try to turn it into a dog, which doesn't work. But my thought of that was to make a living animal out of another living animal. What's gotta stay the same, the only thing, is the heart, the essence of what the book's about. And when you have that heart, you've done it right. It's a good adaptation. Like, obviously then there's still little things that should possibly been done differently, but then you have a good adaptation, and I really felt the heart of the original films in this new film, which is why I thought it was a really good adaptation. And if you haven't seen it yet, you all should go see it, and it's great, and I loved it. And I can now sing Bare Necessities in 3 languages. I can sing it in Dutch, which was the first language I learned, and in the language in which I saw the first original films the first time. I can sing it in English, which I learned yesterday when I saw all 3 movies in which the song is sung multiple times. And I can sing it in French, because we talked about it in French class today. Well, yesterday. I saw it the day before yesterday. I'm lying. I saw it the day before yesterday, and yesterday we talked about it in class. Today I'm making this video. It's 9:30 in the morning right now. I'm about to go to school. I have like 10 minutes. But I can sing it in those languages. Best in Dutch, probably. It this is just like song analytics. They changed lyrics and I like that. I like how it's changed because bare necessities is a wordplay on like bare necessities, bare, you know. And that also kind of works in French, though I don't know exactly the lyrics to that because I only sang it once. But in Dutch they changed the entire thing. Instead of bare necessities, a simple bare necessity. Forget about your worries and your stress. Like that. Je hebt wat je van beren leren kan, van slimme beren leren kan. Wat je niet kunt leren van een beer. Zoiets. Which is what you can learn from bears. Learn from smart bears. Nothing you can't learn from a bear. Something like that. Which is different, and I like that. That's the version I grew up on. But yeah, that's the end of the review. I would give it 8.5 out of 10 stars. It had some difficulties, but nah, I'm gonna make it 9. 9 out of 10 stars. I really liked it a lot. I had some little difficulties with it, but as a whole, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my favorite Disney movie that I had as a child, and still my favorite Disney movie coming to life again on the big screen. I really liked that. I liked it a lot. How many times I'm gonna say that? I don't know. That was the end of the review. I will see you again with a new video sometime in the future.